5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
As we go on the air at 4, just within the past hour, the city of St. Louis changed its mind about requiring masks for city employees. A day after announcing the mandate, they're now strongly recommending city workers wear masks. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. I'm Kate Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. The change comes after city leaders walked back some of the data they were using to support their initial decision. Political editor Mark Maxwell joins us live from downtown. Break this all down for us, Mark.
Yeah, good afternoon, Brent and Kate. Remember these? You saw a lot more masks around City Hall today than you've seen for a long time. In fact, city government workers today had to come to work with one of these on them and wear that, but the mask mandate was quickly reversed, dredging up old memories of the pandemic in more ways than one. It started out Thursday when the health department sent a memo to all city employees telling them that masks would be required all day, effective today. But then they issued a second release today, walking back some of the more alarming statistics from their first notice. Then finally, at 4 o'clock today, a third press release that said masks are now, quote, strongly recommended. I talked to health officials today who seemed surprised by the initial mandate. BJC Healthcare telling us BJC is not seeing a strain on hospital capacity. We're experiencing a seasonal increase in respiratory illness, which is typical for this time of year. We also asked a 40-year veteran infectious disease specialist, the acting director of the St. Louis County Health Department, about his thoughts on a mask mandate.
We would probably consider it if we're really seeing stresses in the healthcare system in terms of hospitalization. But luckily, our influenza has not spiked yet. It is going up, but it's not nearly what it was last year. And it's moderate. It's not alarming.
So what prompted that late afternoon reversal? I've learned, in addition to misinterpreting or misreading some of the data itself, Governor Mike Parson's office said someone in their office spoke to someone in Mayor Jones's office and applied some pressure perhaps about this mandate. Meanwhile, the city of St. Louis is also recommending masks for everyone in the city of St. Louis if you're indoors and cannot social distance. That recommendation remains in place despite all the other confusion around this topic. Live downtown, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you, Mark. New at 4, we've learned a man shot by an officer in St. Elmo, Illinois, was running from police after burglarizing and setting fire to a home. Police say Tyler Rowe stole from Sandra Stein and then set her home on fire. Stein's home is in Brownstown, that's near Effingham. Rowe was stopped by a Farina officer in St. Elmo. That's when the officer shot him. State police are investigating. No word yet on whether Rowe had a weapon when he was shot.
All right, let's go ahead and get a look at your weather first forecast. We have a live image over downtown St. Louis coming in. Another cold day in the region, and our weather first team is tracking rain and snow. Chief Meteorologist Scott Cano with more on that. Hey, Scott.
Yeah, you know, we've got the clouds that have thickened across the St. Louis area this afternoon. We're anticipating a little bit of snow here heading into tonight. This is not a big storm system for St. Louis, and the impacts are really going to be minimal overall. Looking down in Arnold right now, still looking at dry roads here. That's the case for most of the area at this point, as we're still waiting for the snow to start reaching the ground. You look at the regional radar pictures here. Yes, it's mostly snow across Missouri and Illinois. We get into the metro area. It's showing that it's been snowing here for a while around St. Louis, but let's get a closer inspection. This is the Weather First Doppler radar out of the National Weather Service here in Walton Spring. What you don't see around St. Louis, those snow echoes. It's mid-level moisture. We got to moisten those clouds, get them a little bit lower before anything's going to reach the ground. Looks like you might have a little bit reaching the ground here as you head down into that band that's approaching Farmington. But look, everybody's temperature here above freezing. A lot of clouds. They continue to lower and thicken. That's the trend heading into this evening. We will be looking at some snow, might even be mixed with a little bit of rain when it first starts. And then as we head through the evening hours, it becomes mostly snow, mainly sticking to grassy surfaces. And the impacts are going to be the wet roads. Best chances for seeing maybe a dusting to an inch of snow on the grass. It's going to be from about St. Louis east and southeast. We'll catch you in a few minutes. We'll talk about the next system, which is a much more powerful storm and one that Kay is going to cause us, well, some concerns heading into early next week.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Scott. The countdown to the Republican primary race is on. With the Iowa Republican caucuses in a little over a week, candidates are ramping up their campaigns. Dasha Burns is in Des Moines with more.
With just 10 days until the Iowa caucuses, Republican presidential contenders are hustling in the Hawkeye state.
We are only weeks away from making history and winning Iowa's first in the nation caucus.
The frontrunner, former President Trump, predicting an overwhelming victory in Iowa as his rivals fight each other. Once Mr. Trump's strongest challenger in the polls, DeSantis now locked in a battle for second place with Nikki Haley.
Trump has always been leading in the race. I mean, he's the former president. He's one of the most famous people in there.
But you're not even the top challenger to him now.
We are the top. I'm the only one that has a chance to beat Trump and win the general election. Nikki Haley can't get conservative voters.
DeSantis seizing on Haley's comments about the caucuses to New Hampshire voters.
You know Iowa starts it. You know that you correct it. You know that you continue to go.
I think it's a slap in the face to Iowans to say that they somehow need to be corrected. It's almost as if like she's acknowledging she's not going to do well here, and so she's blaming the voters.
Haley responding on CNN overnight.
If I didn't love Iowa, I wouldn't keep coming to Iowa. So, but if we're going to have fun, I'm probably going to say something funny in Iowa tomorrow about South Carolina or New Hampshire. It's the way to just kind of not make everything so serious.
Looming over the race, Mr. Trump's criminal charges over the January 6th attack on the Capitol by his supporters, which happened 3 years ago tomorrow.
What lessons did the country learn from January 6th? What did you also personally take away from that day?
I think it's been politicized by the left. You know, I don't think it was supposed to be, that was not supposed to happen. I think people went to protest, and I think it got out of hand.
But January 6th will be central to President Biden's re-election message, highlighted in a new campaign ad.
There's an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs in our democracy.
And aides say it'll be a key focus of his speech today in historic Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where he'll cast the 2024 election as a referendum on the future of American democracy.
That was Dasha Burns reporting. This week on The Record, we'll have a breakdown of the legislative goals for Missouri. Political editor Mark Maxwell sits down with Missouri House Minority Leader Crystal Quaid to hear what Democrats want to get done this year. And school choice is on the list of topics for both parties. That's an issue Quaid says she is willing to work with Republicans on, despite disagreeing on the current proposals in the House.
If the conversation was about adding the same standards to these private entities and having locally elected school boards where local parents can have a say on what's going on, that's a different conversation than just taking money and moving it to a private entity. The things that I am seeing proposed right now, I don't support.
Mark also sits down with the top Republican leader this week to hear more on the party's agenda this year. You can catch the full show Sunday night after Sports Plus.
A delay in the trial of a disgraced Illinois politician. Why Mike Madigan won't appear in federal court.
A Missouri woman just released from prison now speaking out. What Gypsy Rose Blanchard is saying about a plot to kill her mother.
An art gallery opens tonight in St. Charles, the unique way they're catering to dogs at WAG.